Hello everybody and welcome to the first video chat update of this football season for fantasy football in the Paradise Kids League. Here to update you on last week's scores, results, and look ahead to next week. So our first matchup this past week we had the purple swirly helmets against the ball scratchers. And the ball scratchers came out on top with a big score, 148 to 112. The ball scratchers got big games from Tom Brady as well as Adrian Peterson, both topping over 25 points. Ball scratchers also got 19 points each from LeGarrette Blount and the New York Jets. And Mike Wallace also had a big game for the ball scratchers, 148 points, top of the week. The purple swirly helmets, in a losing effort, got big games from Aaron Rodgers and LaShawn McCoy, each topping 20 points. Matt Forte also added 16, and Aaron Hernandez rounded out the bottom with 12 points. Let's look at our next matchup. Was Niggas Be Crazy versus the Green Eggs and Cam, and Niggas Be Crazy came out on top by just over 11 points. Niggas Be Crazy got 20 points from Phillip Rivers to top his list. Also got 19 points from Kenny Britt, another big day for the wide receiver. Also got 12 points from New Orleans defense against Chicago in a good game to round out the scoring. 107 for Niggas Be Crazy. Green Eggs and Cam, in another losing effort, got 21 points from Peyton Hillis in a big day against Indianapolis. Got 21 points from San Francisco, the game at San Francisco from Tony Romo, 21 points for him. And Andre Johnson rounded out the scoring with 15 points in Houston's win at Miami, but it was still short as Niggas Be Crazy come out on top against Green Eggs and Cam. Our next matchup, we had Romosexual Tendency defeat the Cleveland Steamers. And a big win, over 40 points, almost 50-point win here for Romosexuals. Romosexuals were led by Miles Austin, who had a huge fantasy day, 32 fantasy points. Romosexuals only had 2 players under 10 points with Baltimore's defense and Robert Meacham. All other scorers had over 10 points. Rob Gronkowski, tight end from New England, had 20 points, and total for Romosexual Tendency was 129 points that week. Cleveland Steamers had a very tough day, getting good efforts from Matt Ryan and Darren McFadden, but ended up getting negative points from Mike Williams and 0 points from Brandon Lloyd. So tough day for Cleveland Steamers. In our next matchup, we had Danny's Woodhead against the Blonde Bombers. Some smack talking going on during the weekend of this game. And the results, Danny's Woodhead came out on top, 117 to 96. Big efforts from Matt Stafford with 26 points, Vincent Jackson with 29, and 15 each from Stevie Johnson and Ray Rice. Blonde Bombers had good scores, but just couldn't get enough. AJ Green had 18 points, and the next top scorer was 14 from Jordy Nelson. So not enough for the Blonde Bombers to overcome Danny's Woodhead this week. And finally next, we have Tebow's Aborted Baby. Came out on top against North Vietnam, 98 to 90. One of the closer matchups this weekend. 0-1 versus 1-0. And Tebow's Aborted Baby got good effort from Michael Turner and Ahmad Bradshaw, as well as Michael Vick, even though he got hurt, had 15 fantasy points. He also got 12 points from Green Bay's defense and Mason Crosby. North Vietnam got a big day from Drew Brees with 23 fantasy points, and 15 from Rob Baronis, the kicker from Tennessee, who had 15 points, but couldn't overcome Tebow's Aborted Baby this week. Both are now 1-1. Now let's look ahead to the next matchups. In week 3, we've got Niggas Be Crazy going up against the Blonde Bombers. This should be a tight matchup. Um, but I think I like Niggas Be Crazy with Phillip Rivers against Kansas City. I think he's going to have a big day. And I also like Maurice Jones-Drew and Kenny Britt also in their matchups. I think they're going to have a big day. Blonde Bombers just don't seem to have enough. Weak at the receivers, weak at the running backs. Decent quarterback, but just not good enough to overcome some of the good players that Niggas Be Crazy has. So I expect Niggas Be Crazy to win that one. Next matchup, we have Tebow's Aborted Babies versus the Cleveland Steamers. And I expect Tebow's Aborted Baby to win this one with Michael Vick hopefully returning for the Eagles to have a big day. Michael Turner can also have a really big day, and expect good things out of the Green Bay defense this week against Chicago. I think they're going to have a big day as well. And for Cleveland Steamers, they just don't have enough firepower. Jamal Charles is injured and still in the lineup, so I'm guessing there's some confusion there. Darren McFadden is always a good play, except for he's playing the Jets this week, so I expect him to have a subpar game. And also hurt Mario Manningham is also hurt, so Cleveland Steamers needs to check their lineup or they're going to be in trouble this week. Next matchup, we have Purple Swirly Helmets at North Vietnam. And this should be a really good game. Yahoo has it within 1 point. Looking at the matchup, I would expect Purple Swirly Helmets to come out on top. Even with North Vietnam having Drew Brees and Wes Welker, along with Ryan Matthews, Steve Smith, has a good overall team. But I like Purple Swirly Helmets with Aaron Rodgers, LaShawn McCoy, Hakeem Nicks. Only thing that I'm skeptical about the Purple Swirly Helmets is Aaron Hernandez, who is injured and isn't playing this week. So he's not going to have any fantasy points, so we'll see what happens in that matchup. Next, we got the Ball Scratchers, 2-0 versus Green Eggs and Cam, 0-2. Green Eggs and Cam needs a big win this week against the Ball Scratchers, but I do not see it happening. I'm picking the Ball Scratchers with Tom Brady, Larry Fitzgerald, and Mike Wallace. Should have a big game. Adrian Peterson also always can count on him for big fantasy points. Green Eggs and Cam just doesn't have enough. I think Tony Romo is going to be ineffective with those cracked ribs this week. Peyton Hillison is okay, but I don't think he's going to do well. Some other confusing things. As of right now, Arian Foster is in the lineup for Green Eggs and Cam, but he is not expected to play. And Marcus Colston for the Ball Scratchers is scheduled to play in Ball Scratchers lineup, but he is not going to play this week either. So we'll see how that turns out. And the last matchup, we got Danny's Woodhead against the Homosexual Tendency. This should be a good game. Homosexual Tendency is supposed to come out on top. But I'm going to go with the 2-0 team, Danny's Woodhead, and pick them. I expect Matt Stafford and Calvin Johnson to have huge days again against Minnesota. Vincent Jackson against KC. Expect them to have a huge day. And Stevie Johnson against New England should have a great game. Also, Ray Rice at St. Louis. He's going to put up huge numbers this week. Ben Roethlisberger for Homosexual Tendency should have a decent day at Indy, but I expect them to run the ball more. Des Bryant is hurt, so he's not going to get any points, I don't expect. Ben Tate's a good play, but I think New Orleans is going to be good against the run, and Houston's going to have to pass a lot this week. So we'll see how it goes, but I expect Danny Woodhead to come out on top. All right, let's get to the standings. Okay, in first place right now we have Ball Scratchers 2-0 with 250 points for 2 weeks. That's a lot of points. Next we have Danny's Woodhead at 2-0, just behind him with 247 points. Those are the only 2-0 teams. At 1-1, we have Niggas Be Crazy, Homosexual Tendency, Purple Swirly Helmets, North Vietnam, Tebow's Aborted Baby, and the Blonde Bombers, all at 1-1. And rounding at the bottom, we have at 0-2 Green Eggs and Cam and the Cleveland Steamers. Recent transactions, there's been some activity on the waiver wire. It's good to see. we'll see how those goes. Looks like some good pickups by some people. We'll see if they're in the lineup. All right, that's all for this week. Hopefully, we'll see you next week, and we'll see how it goes. Thanks for coming into the Professor's Corner in here, and we'll see you next week.